Yes, ma'am.
So are we ready to proceed? All right. Ms. Neto, you have been sworn to interpret Mr. Chavez-Boch. What is your official name? Tell me what that is. Mr. Axel Chavez-Boch, what is your official name?
Axel A. Chavez-Boch.
All right. Do you prefer, I notice on the screen that it shows you as Axel A. Chavez. Do you prefer to be referred to as Axel A. Chavez?
Pues, por lo regular, sí. Sí, Axel A. Chávez.
All right. Then I will refer to you in this proceeding as Axel A. Chavez. I will acknowledge on the record that you are officially Axel A. Chavez-Boch. Mr. Chavez, you have been sworn. You understand you're under oath.
Sí.
I wish to discuss with you legal rights and constitutional protections. First of all, you cannot be ordered or compelled to make any kind of statement. It's called the right to remain silent. You do not have to answer questions. You do not have to submit paperwork that has your signature, especially any papers wherein you admit or confess to wrongdoing. Do you understand you have that right to remain silent?
Sí.
You have the right to a jury trial. That's a proceeding where 6 people would be selected at large from our community by the state's attorney and your defense attorney with your participation. 6 people to hear the evidence and decide if you're guilty or not. That's called a jury trial. Do you understand you have that right?
Sí.
You have the right to confront any witnesses that would testify. That means that you and your attorney could cross-examine, question, or challenge anyone who would testify if you went to trial. It's called a right of confrontation. Do you understand you have that right?
Sí.
There's a right called the right to appeal. That is a right that you can exercise, your attorney can exercise, or both of you can exercise together. That right allows you in a proper manner to ask a higher court to review the official record in this proceeding and the results and make whatever challenge you wanted to make. That's called the right of appeal. Do you understand you have that right?
Sí.
You, as the defense and the state, the prosecutors, both have a right to demand that this hearing, this proceeding be done in the public courtroom, an open public courtroom. Do you understand you have that right?
Sí.
Because you're entering a plea, all of these rights, you are agreeing to give them up freely and voluntarily. On the right to handle this in public, you and the state both agree to give up that right. Because of the pandemic, we're not handling or conducting hearings in the public courtroom. Is that clear?
Sí.
Instead of doing this in the public courtroom, we're doing this on what's called video conference. And I'm showing you at this time a document. Now, all of the documents I'm going to show you, with one exception, will have the introductory information at the top there. If you look at the screen, you see that it says cause number 585192, the state of Texas versus Axel A. Chavez-Boch, in county court at law number 5, Bexar County, Texas. That is the introductory information that will be shown in almost every one of the documents, perhaps one or two exceptions. The document itself in this case is called a state's consent to video conference. That's where they know and agree and understand that we're not doing this in the public courtroom, and they accept and agree to that. It's consent agreement. It is signed by Andrew Harris Edelman. In this case, the state consents to video conference as opposed to a public courtroom. Do you see and understand that?
Sí.
Now, all of the documents I want to show you, have you reviewed them with your attorney or attorneys before this this current hearing?
Sí.
All right. Now I'm showing you another document. Again, the same introductory information at the top. This one is called Discovery Acknowledgement. There is a law that we can talk about. It's not important you remember the numbers, but this is called Article 39.14 of the Code of Criminal Procedure. That's a technical naming and stuff, but that right, it is demanded by the state of Texas that in a prosecution, the prosecutor, the assistant district attorney, should provide to you access to all of the materials and evidence and videos, whatever exists that's involved in this case, so that you and your attorney can make an informed and intelligent decision on what you're doing and how to proceed. Do you understand that?
Sí.
All right. This document says it is signed by your attorney and the state's attorney, the prosecutor. The document says that they acknowledge, by the way, this is signed by Monica Guerrero, the former judge. You acknowledge and your attorney acknowledge, and the state acknowledges that the state, the prosecutors have obeyed the law on providing the evidence and information to you and your attorney. Now you're being shown in writing the consent that you gave to handle or conduct this hearing in public, in video conference instead of the public open courtroom. This is done and is signed by you and your attorney, because this is your consent to do this proceeding by video conference. And by the way, it is on YouTube, which is a public way of doing this because the world can tune in and see and hear all of us and what's going on. This next document, again, repeats the information at the top. And this one is titled Defendants Waiver of Constitutional Rights in Court's Admonitions. It starts off with 3 separate sentences.
Your Honor, I'm sorry. I got logged off the share screen.
Well, that's como eres.
Sorry, sir.
All right.
There it is.
All right. The document I'm showing you is called Defendants Waiver of Constitutional Rights in Court's Admonitions. As I said a moment ago, it starts off with 3 separate divided sentences. The first one says, I, Axel A. Chavez-Boch. You're telling me in that sentence that you don't need me to read to you word for word the official document that accuses you of driving while intoxicated with a blood alcohol content of 0.15 or higher. We commonly refer to that as extreme intoxication. The second sentence that you were looking at says that you understand that is exactly what you're charged with. Then the third sentence, you're saying, I hereby enter a plea of nolo contendere to the charge of DWI with blood alcohol content 0.15 or higher. Did you see and understand those three introductory sentences?
Sí.
The rest of this document is basically divided into 15 separate sections or divisions. The very first one, numbered number 1, talks about the range of punishment. That is the punishment that can be given to you if you are convicted or if you enter a plea. Now, there's a stack of little boxes that are set vertically, and each one has a different declaration concerning a range of punishment. The one that's checked off says that you're charged with DWI first with a blood alcohol content of 0.15 or higher or more. That means that the range of punishment is this specific one, that you can be fined from $0 to $4,000, and you can be placed in jail from 0 days to 1 year in jail. Did you see and understand this number 1, what it says?
Sí.
All right. Number 2 repeats that you have a right to a jury trial. This is in writing. The right to cross-examine witnesses and the right to remain silent. And you declare, I freely and voluntarily waive, parentheses, give up those rights. Did you see and understand number 2?
Sí.
All right. Number 3 talks about mental competence. Have you ever had any mental health problems?
No.
Have you ever been given or taken mental health medication?
No.
All right. The rest of these numbers, 4 all the way to 15, they're all important. Did you review each one of them?
Sí.
Number 8 asks the simple question, where were you born, sir? Are you a citizen of the United States of America?
Nací en Guatemala. Soy residente permanente.
All right. Now, did your attorneys or anyone else give you information and legal advice concerning what this charge can result in as far as consequences to your immigration status or to your deportability?
Tengo una abogada de inmigración que me está asistiendo.
All right.
Your Honor,
Yes,
may I say something on the record?
Mr. Statson.
Mr. Chavez does have an immigration attorney. He has been advised that he could accept this plea and that he could not plead to a felony or the family violence case. And he resolved his felony case yesterday, was sentenced in the 399th. They reduced it to a misdemeanor A, and his family violence case will be TIC'd upon entering a plea to this DWI charge. So he's been informed by immigration attorney to go forward with this plea.
So you're saying, Mr. Statson, for the record, that the requirements of Padilla versus Kentucky on issues of immigration and criminal charges has been complied with fully?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. All right, now let's go to, I'm going to ask you something, Mr. Chavez. You have made a deal with the state, an agreement. It's called a plea bargain. That plea bargain, I, as the judge, have the responsibility and the authority to decide whether I accept it or not. I can reject it. I can reject any part of it. I can also give you a punishment that is legally within the range of punishment, but I can give you a punishment that's greater than what you've agreed to. If I reject your deal, or if I give you a punishment greater than what you agreed to, in either of the two cases, the law would allow you to start all over again, and nothing that you've said or anything that you've signed up till now would be used against you if you started over. Is that clear?
Sí.
All right. Number 15, by signing this form, you've telling me that you know that you have the right to demand a risk and needs assessment, but you and your attorneys have determined that you do not want me to stop everything and have that done. Is that correct? Yes, ma'am. By signing this agreement, you and your attorney agree that you do not want me to conduct a risk and needs assessment. Is that accurate? Is that true?
Yes.
Sí.
All right.
Sí.
Now, thank you. Did you answer that, Statson? All right. Scroll, Patty. The document that I'm showing you now talks about your right to appeal. This is where I make a certification to you. It has the same information at the top. The document says this is trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal. There's a stack of vertical boxes, each one with a declaration concerning the right of appeal. I have had marked on there the fifth box. It says, I certify that this is a plea bargain case and the defendant has no right of appeal. I have signed it, so have you and your attorney. Do you understand that?
Sí.
You have any questions?
No.
All right. The next document, again with the introductory information. The title of the document is Application for Judge-Ordered Community Supervision Probation. Did you review this carefully with your attorney?
Sí.
Did you know and understand what you're telling me by signing this document and making this application?
Sí.
You have any questions?
No.
All right. The court makes all of these documents part of the record, including the application.
Okay.
All right. Now, the document you're seeing now is one of the few that doesn't have that introductory information at the top because this is your personal data. You have placed your name. You're showing on here that you work for Relief Roofing. You make $350 per week. You work full time. The information about references is true and accurate.
Sí.
All right. You have 4 children.
Tengo 3, pero pensé que depende también incluía a mi esposa.
All right. Does your wife work outside of the house?
Sí.
Okay. All the information you put in here is true and accurate.
Correcto.
I'm going to want you to provide to the probation department a copy of your income tax for last year. All right, scroll.
Okay.
Scroll, please. We should now have the what's called a plea agreement.
Okay.
All right, I'm showing you now what's called a plea agreement. This one starts up at the top with your name and the case number.
Mhm.
I will be marking the first box, which says that we've talked to you and explained to you your rights, particularly the right to remain silent. Then I'm going to skip the next box and mark the one that said defendant is not a U.S. citizen. Then I'm going to, inside the dotted rectangle, I'm going to mark compliance with Padilla versus Kentucky. Then I'll check off the sentence says defendant has been given full and accurate information about consequences that particular charges may have on immigrants, on immigration status or deportability. And what is the name of your immigration lawyer?
Marisela, déjame recordar, es Marisela, pero es recomendación de Miss Mónica, pero no me sé el apellido de ella.
All right. Mr. Statson, would you, I order you to obtain the full name of the immigration lawyer so I can complete that portion of the document.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. Now, Mr. Chavez, you will notice the next section is titled Defendants Acknowledgements. There are 5 vertical boxes, small boxes, each one checked off. Do you agree that information that's checked off talks about your rights and protections and that you're fully aware of them?
Sí.
All right, the next section talks about DWI, the charges. The very first box says the state will proceed with DWI as alleged in the charging instrument, which means DWI with a blood alcohol content of 0.15 or higher. You understand that?
Sí.
All right, officially, sir, to the charge of DWI with a blood alcohol content of 0.15 or higher, how do you plead, sir?
No me opongo.
All right, you understand that a no contest plea in this court is taken as a guilty plea.
Sí.
All right, you're hereby ordered to appear in the offices of Bexar County Court of Law number 5. It is on the 4th floor of the Justice Center. The offices are in a hallway behind the main courtroom. I want you there within 1 week so that you can fill in any information that is missing and particularly to provide a thumbprint to the documents that are required. Is that understood?
Sí.
All right. I find you guilty based on your plea and the evidence. I sentence you to 1 year in Bexar County Jail, probated for a term of 2 years. That means you will be under community supervision for 2 years. You will perform 150 hours of community service restitution. You will participate in and complete in good faith the DWI intervention program and the DWI Victim Impact Panel live. You will submit to a TAP evaluation and follow the recommendations. Your supervisory fee will be set at the minimum of $25 per month. Any questions, Mr. Axel A. Chavez-Boch?
No.
Any questions, Mr. Statson?
I do have an answer for the last name of the immigration attorney, and I needed to put something else on the record. The attorney that Mr. Chavez retained and hired, her name is Marisa Balderas.
B like boy?
B as in boy,
I got you. A-L-D-E-R-A-S, Balderas.
correct. And Monica Guerrero wanted me to make on the record that this is intended to run concurrent, the probation out of County Court 5 with the probation out of the 399th on cause number 2020 CR 3214. And that case was pled and sentenced yesterday.
And what is the charge in that?
It was, the original charge was it was a felony DWI, I believe endangering a child, and it was reduced to a Class A misdemeanor.
All right. State any objection to the concurrence of the probation in this matter to concur with 2020 CR 3214 in the 399th District Court?
No objection, Your Honor. It's specifically written into the plea agreement.
Okay. I did not see that, but that's, regardless, that will be honored. All right. Any other questions, Mr. Edelman?
No, sir.
All right, then this will conclude this hearing. Mr. Axel Chavez-Boch, good luck to you. I would highly, highly recommend that you consider whether drinking is more important to you than living in this country, and more important to you than living with your family. Because if you continue to drink, you've obviously already had some serious DWI issues. This particular case involved extreme intoxication. You've also had a case that was a felony originally because you had one of your children with you. The worst thing that could ever happen to you is to be out there drinking, driving, and you killed one of your own children. That would be the absolute worst thing that could ever happen. And that can and does happen frequently to people. So keep that in mind. I will tell you that we will be supervising you carefully. If you dare to drink and drive again, and they bring you to this court with regarding your probation, if the evidence proves it or shows it, you're going to have a real extremely bad time. Is that understood?
Okay.
All right. Good luck to you then. Everyone that's here with us, be blessed, be well, be safe. That'll